Okay, so second job, I moved to a different organization that was also doing maternal infant mental health, or excuse me, yeah, maternal or infant mental health, not maternal, but infant mental health. Infant mental health there, it was a bigger organization. It was a little more, I would say, organized, and it was closer to home because I was driving quite a distance from the other place, and I would get the supervision from this really amazing lady that did this introduction course for me, and I would be on her team. And when I interviewed with her, I just adored her, just absolutely adored her. And our supervisions were really great, and they were really supportive, and they all went towards my license. So I did them. I stayed there until I became fully licensed. And then at that time, I was like, I was creating my family. And so I left to do full private practice full time. And one thing about private practice is when you're first starting out, you might fall into a few traps of like, hey, let me do your credentialing for you. Let me help you out. I'll do a whole video on credentialing and getting your licensing and stuff like that. But like, you fall into that and you'll get overwhelmed, or you try to go out and do it on your own, with no backing, right? Because if you're doing private practice, that means you say you don't have a second income coming in, or you don't have a spouse that can help with the financial aspect of, like private practice, you can't just jump in it, right? Realistically, you have to take your time, and you have to kind of consider some things. And some things that you have to consider, I'll definitely talk about in the next video. But I worked with a bigger agency, so that it wasn't a friend of a friend or a family friend or anything like that. Because one thing I didn't want is that if I decided to branch out and do my own, because I knew my end goal was to have a private practice. One thing I didn't want to do was go out on my own, or go with a friend, or do something with a friend or something, and I'd leave and they feel some type of way, because then I would have, I didn't want to alter any relationships. So I got with a big organization, because once I decided to leave, like, they didn't really care. They were like, oh, okay, bye. I think I tried to go back later another time, and it wasn't a big deal. Like, it wasn't that big of a deal. So yeah, there's that aspect. So taking that into consideration. Another thing, going under this large agency, right, or this large established facility, is you can get the A to Z information, right? Because what's happening is that they have a whole team that does your credentialing for you. Well, before they can do your credentialing for you, they're sending you all the documents and all the insurances that they want you to be credentialed with. Okay, hear what I'm saying? So you have the documentation with you, so you're learning how to fill out the paperwork, because all they're doing is transferring that information that you put on that paperwork and putting it in a system. Okay, you figure out, so now okay, well, these are all the insurance companies that they're using. Okay, got it. So then when it came time for me to go out on my own, I just did the same list that they had, and I'm just switching over all to my personal information. But before I even did that, I had to create an LLC. So like I said, it'll be a whole nother video at a different time. This one is just gonna be short and sweet. So I worked with them, pandemic hit. So this was a time, I worked with them for about maybe almost 2 years. No, about a year. 2 years. Yeah, I was getting ready to have a baby. Nope, 2 years. I was having a baby. I started, they didn't care if you started a private practice while you were doing your thing. They make that much money. Like, they don't care. They didn't care. Started my private practice during the pandemic, virtually, like a good portion of my friends have. And it took off from there. Like, worked really hard to get that going. So I hope this is helpful. I'm currently 3 years into my private practice. I do work at the hospital part-time. It's that small love I still have for like oncology and that connection. And I love it. I love what I do. I enjoy what I do, and I'm at a place in my life where I'm really comfortable. And so I think sharing my journey, I think, is really important. And I hope that it's helpful to new grads and graduate students. Like, I hope I hope this journey and talking about social work is beneficial. And eventually, like, I want to definitely have some tools and tricks and tips to give you for that exam, especially for my Michiganders. But in general, just like that test is, once I got a better understanding of what was needed, it worked out. I was fine. So come along with me. I look forward to getting to know you all and reading comments and, getting your honest opinion about kind of what you think, this is all about. So welcome to Drama Adjacent.